I'm Ron Presswood with CO2AL, and we are looking to end industrial air pollution. So there's three questions that people generally ask about a new technology. What's the opportunity? How are you protected? And what do you do? So our opportunity. If you look back at the beginning of this century, in 1 year, the TCQ reported there was 33,000 tons of NOx, equivalent amount of CO2, 2 times that amount of SOx, 150,000 tons of VOCs that were emitted into the air of the state of Texas from industrial facilities, regulated industrial facilities. What we have is we have 2 patents. We have another patent pending, and we have other patents that we're going to be filing. The process itself, when you run flue gases through the process, the greenhouse gases break down chemically, the VOCs break down thermally, and we capture particulate matter and heavy metal. So competitive advantage, while we're doing this, it's an exothermic process. Because it's exothermic, we actually generate excess heat. That excess heat can be sold or it can be used for cogeneration. So we capture greenhouse gases, VOCs, particulate matter, and heavy metals, and we do it in one process at a CapEx of $25 million. So that replaces 6 processes with a CapEx of $300 million. Everything that comes off the process can be sold. We've already been talking to individuals who are actually interested in buying the offtake from the process. So not only do we do the greenhouse gases we're all familiar with, but we can also treat the higher order CO2 equivalent gases. So we've modeled Texas industrial facilities. We've modeled a California cement plant. We've shown that we can make it 0 emissions while generating significant emission credits. So the machine itself is based on 100-year-old technology that we've modified. It takes about 4 months to build a machine, and once it's sold, we see net profits north of 50%. We have our scientific partners are Tier 1 Texas universities. Ian Bishop and myself, we own all of the IP. We also have additional alternative successes. We're actually shown that, or demonstrated that we can gasify coal. We're talking to the DOE and ARPA-E right now about this process. So what are we asking for? We're asking for $4 million to build and operate a machine in the city of Houston, and we're 16 months to market. Thank you.
So in what form do you capture the CO2?
Actually, the CO2 goes into the process and it's broken down. And that would be true with any organic compound that has oxygen in it. The oxygen is actually scavenged off the molecule, so the carbon comes out just as a particulate. Carbon comes off particulate. Sulfur comes off in a gaseous form. We recover that in a temperature drop. And NOx, in the Northeast, we can sell it. Texas, we just gas it off.
Is this the answer to EPA's Clean Power Plan?
Yeah,
And a follow-up to that is regarding regulatory or any kind of governmental approvals that you would need?
So we've talked to the EPA. We've also talked to the TCQ. TCQ has no problem with us. They've already talked to us about permitting the facility. Yes, it will make a power plant or any other industrial facility 0 emissions. And what that does is, again, we're capturing or converting the greenhouse gases. If you have VOCs, that's breaking down. You get carbon, you get hydrogen. There are processes out there that are very efficient at CO2, but we can do all 6. We can do the greenhouse gases, particulate matter, and the heavy metals.
Thank you.
Could you talk about your business model? How do you make money? Do you want to own and operate these things long term, or how do you want to scale up?
When we talk about an industrial facility, we're talking about selling the machines. We'll build them, sell them to engineering companies, let them install it. We have the ability to design the systems, but we prefer to, in talking to some of the companies we've talked to, they prefer to use their engineering companies. We've looked at other processes, and in those processes, what we would do is we would own the machine, we would actually operate it at individual facilities placed around the country. So coal gasification and some other processes that were mentioned are on the sides.
So you want to operate the asset at the facility?
Yeah, if it's gasifying coal, the best way to do it is at the facility. Then you're not trucking the coal. There's a great expense, and there's also social impact for trucking it. But we can break down the coal at the site, and then actually either we've talked to companies we've talked to, they said they'll actually provide the tanks for us if it's hydrogen and the compression systems. If it's if we go to natural gas, we would just pipe it.
So why not license the technology to get your seed funding and then build infrastructure where you want to build it?
I'd do anything to get the seed funding. So yeah, I'd be perfectly fine doing that. We have companies we've talked to, and actually one of the guys we're talking about right now, his interest is doing the coal part. That's what he wants at a facility. So thank you. I appreciate you doing this.
Okay, thank you, Ron.